This is Derrick Broze of the Conscious Resistance Network. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm not using my headphones today. This is episode number 74 of the Conscious Resistance Network. If you can hear me again, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you can hear me okay. And when you do hear me, go ahead and comment below. Let us know where you're listening from, as we do every week here on the Conscious Resistance Live, where I try to bring you news, politics, philosophy, just whatever's on my mind, really, and hopefully get you thinking, get you active in your world. So yeah, please let us know where you're listening from, and go ahead and share that, and give me just a moment as I share this out on my social media feeds. This is, again, the Conscious Resistance Live, a weekly program that I do here right on the Conscious Resistance Network. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/theconsciousresistance. And also you can follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/consciousresistance. I'll post these links down there below. And of course, the website is theconsciousresistance.com. So yeah, give me just one more second to share this out, and I'll get started. I've got 3, maybe 4 main stories to talk to you tonight. These are all coming from my articles that I've written this week for Activist Post. I write for activistpost.com and mintpressnews.com and the antimedia.org as well. So you can follow my journalism there. And you can also follow my journalism at my Contently profile, and I'm going to post that below. Alright, so I've got this shared out once again. Thank you guys for listening. What's up, Brandon from Alvin? What's up, Travis in Colorado? Check this out. This is the tour shirt, the Decentralize Your Life tour, sponsored by Bitcoin.com. West Coast tour starts on July 10th. So if you're looking to get involved with that and you want to see us on the road, check out theconsciousresistance.com/tour. I'll post that link to you right now. And as I said, if you want to follow up on our YouTube channel, you can do so at The Conscious Resistance. And then I want to mention one new video that I put out this week, actually 3 new videos that I put out this week that I would like you to check out. One of them first is the latest episode of the Freethinker House. So those of you who are listening from wherever you're listening from, you may know that I live in the Houston Freethinker House here in Houston, Texas. But you may not know that we release bi-monthly episodes of different things that's going on in our community. Basically, it's like, imagine like a reality TV show that actually talks about real things, important things. That's what we focus on. So you can find that and more on that YouTube channel and on our Facebook. But go ahead and check that link out there. And the other video that I recorded this week that I want you guys to check out is also on the YouTube channel, and it's called Moving Beyond the Libertarian Movement. And the reason it's called that is because trying to take my work beyond just focusing on one type of movement, right? I've worked with libertarians since 2011, 2012, and I consider myself to be a libertarian of a sort. But at the same time, I see that my work and my message is bigger than staying involved with one movement: progressive movement, libertarian movement, patriot movement, any of these kind of things, conspiracy researcher movement, truth movement. I want to take this message that I believe in of counter-economics and agorism and freedom for all people, a universalist view on freedom, and anti-statist view, anti-authoritarian, that allows people to flourish, for the human spirit to flourish, so to speak, and to be its best. I want to take that message to as many people as possible, as wide and as far as possible, and to do so, I think that I have to maybe pay less attention to what's going on in those movements. And what I'm finding out through the Decentralize Your Life tour is we're traveling around the country, and we're seeing that basically people around the country, whether or not they've ever really thought about anarchism or more specifically agorism, they understand the concepts, and whenever I talk to them about working outside of the state, this idea that rather than waiting and trying to overthrow the government, or trying to wait for voting to achieve the change we want, we just create the system we want outside of that. We compete directly with the state. When I talk to people about that, and I explain to them the power of gray markets and black markets, and generally just working outside of the state's currency whenever possible, they understand and they get it. And I'll have radical college kids to soccer moms, middle-aged suburban soccer moms who are like, oh yeah, agorism, gray markets, black markets, and they totally get it. And that's what I think is a beautiful thing about this, is these ideas are conducive to many people, and the ideas are able to reach a good amount of people, regardless of where you're coming from. So yeah, my message is bigger than just the libertarian movement. It's my main point. So I just shared that link. And then the other story I did that we're going to get into in just a moment is a video version of a story I did on the CIA. And I'm going to post that there before we get into it. Once again, I see we have new listeners. We just got it shared out on the Mind Unleashed. Thank you, everybody who's tuning in. My name is Derrick Broze. If you're just jumping in, we're going to continue. This is the Conscious Resistance Live. You guys know this. I come here every Friday night, and you can talk to me about whatever you got. I will not respond to troll comments, but if you got any legitimate comment, if you got anything to say, then I'll respond to you. And I've just been covering some videos I put out this week, but now we're going to go over the 3 top stories that I wrote about this week for activistpost.com. Once again, if you've never been here, give us a thumbs up. Let me know you can hear me okay. And let us know where you're listening from. I'm broadcasting from Houston, Texas, the United States, Turtle Island, wherever you're listening from, let us know. And then if you see somebody listening from an area near you, contact them, connect with them, and grow with them. And I gotta remember to mention meditation flash mob. Remind me if you guys don't see me talk about this in the next 20 minutes before we wrap things up. Ask me again, what is a meditation flash mob? Yo, what up? Nice to see you guys. So the first story deals with the Central Intelligence Agency. Raise your hand if you know what the Central Intelligence Agency is. Central Intelligence Agency is essentially the spy apparatus of the United States government. They've been involved with all kinds of crazy things like Project MKUltra, where they were testing LSD on unsuspecting people and things of that nature. So the CIA is also involved in overthrowing governments around the world, carrying out false flag operations. This is not a conspiracy. Look into the history of the CIA and look at their involvement. But this agency most recently has been involved with torture. Now, it's really, really disturbing to me in 2017 when I feel like so many people are awake and aware of the problems, of the lies of the global war on terror, the problems that come along with supporting the war machine, with blindly, unquestionably supporting this war machine. Now, this is actually a good time to talk about this, I think, because this coming week, next Monday, is July 4th. So some of you who just got off work, you probably have a 4-day weekend if you're in the United States, right? This is July 4th, Independence Day. We're supposed to celebrate fighting back against the British Crown and Americans striking for freedom, right? But then at the same time, we are constantly told in our everyday life that it's a crazy idea to think about moving past this government. And again, I'm not talking about a violent revolution, because revolution, it's what? It's going in circles, revolving door. I'm talking about this, taking the radical notion that perhaps people could create something more representative of the health and the wealth of the people so that we can live healthy without institutionalized and systematic and systemic violence that we see through the war on drugs, the war on terror, the war on freedom in general, and the war on humanity that is being waged by states and their corporate partners. So, it may seem insane to imagine that we could get past this, and especially when things like this, torture, are still going on in 2017. But I think it's going to really take some radical rethinking to really get to the point. Now, you guys have talked to me before in the past. I did a video last week called How to Decentralize or Unplug from the Matrix, and the idea basically that we can take small steps individually to actually create freedom in our lives using counter-economics, working outside of the state's economic system, and creating barter networks, creating alternative currencies, cryptocurrencies, time-making, all kinds of different things, and using these ideas to find economic freedom and thus physical freedom, spiritual freedom, mental freedom, all that type of stuff. So, now that I've ranted for long enough, this story is about the CIA being involved in torture. As you guys know, following 9/11, when the United States was attacked by Al-Qaeda, is that what we're supposed to believe? When the United States was attacked on 9/11, every single thing under the sun was on the books now. If you said you wanted to shove your fist up somebody's rectum. And this may sound disturbing, but these are realistic things that have happened to people in torture. If you said you wanted to shove your fist up someone's rectum because you thought that it would get results and help you find terrorists, they would have signed off on it. This is when the Patriot Act happened. Torture was allowed. Rendition, which is essentially just a euphemism for kidnapping people and taking them to secret private prisons around the world where they're outside of the United States jurisdiction and they can torture and do whatever they want to them. So after 9/11, Americans have turned a blind eye. And even, I will say this, on the Mind Unleashed page, on my page, The Conscious Resistance, on many of these pages, you guys, some of you maybe in this audience, commented pictures that said, there's a picture of the Twin Towers and says, everything I need to learn about Muslims I learned on this day, or this is why I don't care if they torture them. And it's this sort of eye for an eye thing, you know, that people, they feel, for one, you were lied to about 9/11. You need to look a lot more into 9/11 if you still believe this boogeyman Al-Qaeda story. But not only that, but even if, you know, whoever you point the finger at, just this idea that, well, they hurt us, so it's okay to dehumanize them and we should use violence, and that's the way this should happen. That's the way things should go. I mean, that's just so disturbing, especially on a page like The Mind Unleashed. I'm just curious, like, people come and follow a page that has memes about enlightenment and peace and love, and they're the kind of people that are like, screw them, torture them. It's disturbing. But this past week, new historic video was released. Now I'll go ahead and post the article for you guys if you want to follow along. This is something I wrote earlier in the week for Activist Post. There it is right there. New video. They were court deposition videos showing two senior CIA officials calmly explaining how and why they authorized these brutal torture methods. So two men were involved in designing, they're known as the architects of the CIA torture the torture methods. One's name is James Mitchell and John Bruce Jessen. They are psychologists who have been charged since 2015, or a lawsuit has been filed against them, accusing them of operating a joint criminal enterprise because they made upwards of $80 million in taxpayer money, which is stolen from you via the government, via the state. They made $80 million to help design a program that would help the U.S. and the military break people, try to mentally break people and turn them into loose-lipped zombies was their goal. So two psychologists who were known as the architects of the torture program have basically continued to go free. Like, nobody questions them, nobody even tries to charge them with anything. But we actually saw the release of these two new videos that show Jose Rodriguez, who was the former director of the CIA's Counterterrorism Center, and another man named John Rizzo, who was the legal counsel, head legal counsel of the CIA, who also helped create, these guys basically helped draft the authorization for the torture program. They helped George Bush and his team come up with like a legal, you know, legalese that says it's okay, this is perfectly fine, it doesn't violate any international laws, there's no reason we should be questioned about this, yada, yada, yada. So, you know, you should know this if you don't remember, because some of us, depending on how old you are, you may not remember that. And I think 2005, 2008, definitely when Obama came into office, he basically said that all Bush officials were not going to be, they wouldn't be charged, and there would be no further investigation into waterboarding. So essentially everybody involved the CIA, from like the people who actually were doing the beatings, to the waterboardings, to everything, to the people who wrote the policy, and to the people who signed it in and said, yeah, this can happen, this is all legit. Every single one of them has gone free, and with no charges and no, no ramifications basically on their livelihood. And this is pretty fucked up, to be quite frank, because, well, I mean, these guys are criminals. How else do you frame this? And people say this, as I was saying a few moments ago, there's some people here saying, well, this is an asymmetrical warfare. We can't, stick to the rules of typical warfare. So things like the Geneva Convention don't count, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, this is just a sad argument that leads to totalitarianism. It leads to, an eye for an eye, those kind of things. And it's pretty screwed up that this even happens still. But now this is the worst part, and I want you guys to read the article because I posted the link there. I'll post it again, and you can see the videos. There's a couple of videos in there. Because one guy particularly, and I made a meme about him this week, and I made a video, because when I see this kind of crap, it really just pisses me off. And I think it's up to us to use the power of the internet, you know, and our ability to communicate with people in a very quick fashion, and to use that power to spread information. So I made a meme basically asking to make this guy famous, right? His name is Jose Rodriguez. There, I posted the link again. Historic video, CIA officials testify about torture for the first time. And when this dude is questioned, because not only did Rodriguez authorize this crap, in 2005, he ordered 92 tapes which showed some brutal torture methods. And I'm not talking about just, has anybody here ever been waterboarded? I have. I helped organize national actions against torture in 2015, and they ended up being global actions. You know, shout out to everybody who got involved with that and actually stood against U.S. torture and the militarism and the killing that comes from the United States government, and really from every branch of the military. I'm sad to say it. As I was saying earlier, we're coming up to July 4th, and July 4th, Independence Day, if it stands for anything other than just some status holiday that you know is just like wave your flag around, rah rah rah. I don't want a part of that. That's jingoism. That's faux patriotism. If you're going to actually care about this country, know the history of it. Don't say, well, if you don't like it, get out of here. How about if you say, well, if you don't like it, do something about it, change it. And I don't even want to say, go vote or go run for office. I think there's far more effective ways for us to change the country and change the world. And that really starts with changing ourselves and changing our communities. But in the long run, these men are criminals. I don't care which way you slice it. Jose Rodriguez, John Rizzo, James Mitchell, and Bruce Jessen, these men designed programs that led to the torture of innocent people. And yeah, this is the other thing. People are going to say, oh, well, if they're connected to terrorism, then whatever, I don't care, screw them, do whatever you want. Look, they didn't just waterboard them, and I was involved with waterboarding as part of national actions, but they beat them. They would hold them in stress positions for hours on end until their legs and would go numb and things like that. They'd get dogs in their face and just bark at them. They'd play really loud music all up in their face. Psychological torture, sleep deprivation. And the three men who the ACLU are representing, who are suing Jose Rodriguez, John Rizzo, and these psychologists, the three men, well, they all were kidnapped from their home countries, taken away to secret prisons, beaten in the name of keeping you free, they say, which is a bunch of bullshit. And none of them were ever connected to terrorism. None of them were ever even charged with a crime. But they were kidnapped from their families. They were beaten. And Gul Rahman, the third man who's in the case, he's not even alive. He's dead. So it's his estate, his family that's suing on his behalf, because he died while in the custody of the United States military, the CIA, in one of their secret prisons that they say they need to do in order to keep you safe from lies like 9/11. Now, I'm sorry if I'm getting a little bit heated about this and just ranting on this, but 9/11, the U.S. war on terror, and torture, it really just disturbs me that people... Why is there not a massive anti-war movement in this country anymore? Why is there not massive outrage about the fact that the United States is torturing people in 2017 and then trying to act all high and mighty and get everybody afraid of ISIS and Al-Qaeda and these kind of things when the U.S. is doing some pretty fucking horrible things themselves, okay? So this July 4th, this Independence Day, if you actually want to do something that fucking matters, stop paying taxes. How about that? Stop paying your taxes. Stop feeding this war machine. Learn to take care of yourself. Work in the counter economy. Get out of their system. Unplug, decentralize, find a way to unplug your freaking mind, your body, and your heart and your spirit from the system, because it doesn't represent the health and the wealth of the people. It doesn't represent light, truth, love, freedom. It doesn't represent the pursuit of happiness. It represents an imperialistic empire, the United States military, and their partners. It's not just the United States, though. There are imperialist, statist, authoritarian regimes around the world. And I'm not here to say one is better than the other. I don't know where you're listening from. I thank you for listening. Go ahead and let everybody know where you're listening from below. If you guys want to, you can comment. And I can't even see the comments because it's so bright with the sun here in my eyes. So if you're trolling me, have at it. But let everybody know where you're listening from. And if you see friends who are in your city, connect with them. So this dude, Jose Rodriguez, I'm almost to the point, I promise, then we're going to change stories. This guy, Jose Rodriguez, he destroyed 92 tapes that showed evidence of this beatings and torture and all this crazy crap. Then in the videos, which are from March of this year, which are just released this week for the first time. So this is a big deal. This is why I'm saying, why are people not paying attention? Why is the deadstream corporate media telling you to worry about Donald Trump and Russia and this celebrity and all kinds of crap? They want you worried about things when maybe left and right and those people who are still stuck in that fake false political paradigm, and even the people who are outside of that and the independents, maybe we could all rally around issues like torture and anti-war and anti-surveillance and common things that unite all of us. But instead they use us and manipulate us and keep us as pawns fighting against each other. That's all I'm saying. So maybe something like torture would be something that we could all generally agree it's kind of fucked up, but apparently not. But this dude, when he was asked by this lawyer, so why did you decide to destroy these tapes? He said it would make the CIA look bad and almost, in my view, destroy the clandestine service because of it. Yeah, that's right. This guy has no regard to morality or even law, but rather he's acting from what will or will not make the state look bad. So think about that. Does that sound like they represent you or they have your best interests at heart? Of course not. This case is ongoing, and it should pick up in September. I think it's been rescheduled to September 5th, because guess what? Any of you out there who may support Donald Trump, I don't know if you're still out there after my anti-war, anti-military tirade, but if you still are there, you should know that your boy Trump is actually trying to invoke state secret privilege to stop this lawsuit from going forth, because he doesn't want people to find out what the U.S. is doing, because guess what? They're still doing it. Despite President Obama's promise that they stop doing it, there's still plenty of evidence that the U.S. continues to support torture and commit torture in the war on terror. So please, I'll post the link one more time. Share it far and wide. Thank you to everybody who's listening from The Mind Unleashed. Thank you to everybody who's listening on the Conscious Resistance Network. And again, my name is Derrick Broze, D-E-R-R-I-C-K, B-R-O-Z-E. You can follow me on Facebook. You can subscribe on the Conscious Resistance Network and our channel on YouTube. Now, this one also involves a video, and I'll be less ranty with that. Sorry I took 30 minutes to get to that story. It's just I get so pissed off behind, this war on terror and all the lies. And yes, when it really comes back to things like 9/11. And I don't care if you think that I'm a conspiracy theorist. At this point, it's 12 years, 15 years, 16 years after things have happened. And if you can't really see that there's so many lies surrounding 9/11, no matter which angle you take it, then I don't really know what to tell you. Because at this point, even the mainstream admits that the Saudis and other people had a hand in financing it, and that Iraq had nothing to do with it. Iran had nothing to do with it. So it's frustrating when you start to unravel these things. I don't like to just swing at the branches, right? So if I'm just talking about war, if I'm just talking about the war on terror, but I'm not addressing the root of it, which is, okay, well, why did they start this war, right? Well, 9/11, right? Then you have to start examining 9/11. But then even bigger than that, well, 9/11 is not the only thing. There's been wars going on for years, and well, they've been taking people's rights away for years. And you start to study it, and you're like, wow, this is just the way this institution known as the state, this is just the way government operates. They operate with an illegitimate monopoly on force and a claim to the landmass. So, when you really start to unravel it, it gets a bit deep. Sorry. But this next story relates to a story that I touched on a couple weeks ago involving Tiger Swan, a private military contractor, and the accusations that they purposefully set law enforcement vehicles on fire in order to blame opponents of the Dakota Access Pipeline back in October. So those of you who know my work, you're familiar with me, you know that I went to Standing Rock 3 times in 2016. I went in August, I went in October, and I went in December. And in October, I was there during the night when there was raids. I got tased, I got pepper sprayed, they used the LRAD sound cannon. And if you read my report from Mint Press News back then, you know that I reported on that night there was this totally different presence of people on the bridge, Backwater Bridge. So I went there with my video camera, and when I came back, I didn't see many natives, I didn't see prayers or songs going on or dancing or anything like that. It was like bumping some loud music. There was a car that was set on fire in the middle of the bridge. Everybody was all black blocked out, wearing bandanas and covering pretty much all of them. And they were saying, if you don't like this scene, you need to get back to the camp. Don't, if you can't handle this, you need to leave. And it was a very different atmosphere than what I'd witnessed before. And after a while, I was pretty much threatened and told to get off the bridge because I kept filming. So I went and hid down off the side of the bridge, and I filmed till about 3 in the morning. And I had video footage, but I've never released it until, well, just this week. And I'll post this story right here for you guys. But basically, there's a 15-minute video inside that link that I just posted right there. Does this guy ever say anything nice about America? Yeah, America's a beautiful, beautiful land. The land from sea to shining sea, from California's coast to the East Coast, that I'm spending this summer traveling and spreading this message of community awareness and mindfulness and empowerment, is a beautiful, beautiful place with so many intelligent, awesome people. But it is hijacked and controlled by manipulative, deceitful human beings who do not care for the people that are beneath them. They place themselves higher than the rest of us, and they have taken control of this apparatus known as the state of the United States government and the U.S. military and all the various institutions that some people call the deep state or the shadow government or the New World Order or whatever you want to call it. Those people are the people I have problems with. So my problem is not the United States as a concept itself, this landmass. I think that, people, my people, all of our communities, our tribes, our ancestors have been here for generations, and we can come together and find a way to move past it. Doesn't mean I should have to leave just because I express a negative, quote, negative opinion, but in reality, this is just the truth. This is reality. These people are torturing. You got people over here in Standing Rock. You have private contractors who, again, these people, Tiger Swan, they started out as a private military contractor in the war on terror, in the global war on terror. So these people go get trained, they fight in the military, and then they form private companies like Tiger Swan, and then they come back and they get hired by Morton County Sheriff's Department and local police departments around the country to wage counterinsurgency warfare. These guys basically said that they had found a, quote, proven method of defeating pipeline insurgencies, and they used aggressive intelligence, preparation of the battlefield, and active coordination between intelligence and security elements. They did so by spying on protesters, by stealing radios and monitoring communications, and one whistleblower, a former employee of one of these security companies, private contractors, said that Tiger Swan sent people out at night to light equipment on fire. And that is exactly what I witnessed in the video that I'm telling you to watch. Please watch that video. I just posted the link in there. It's called Exclusive. New video emerges of no DAPL provocateurs setting vehicles on fire. It's a 15-minute video. There's some graphic language. But it's me sitting there watching the whole thing happen, and the police park their car and they leave it there to get set on fire, and they leave. So that's what I'm talking about. Let me read one question. So I have to ask, what if you found out that what info you spread actually makes someone actually believe it and causes them to their mind because you caused a false paranoia? False paranoia, I don't think there's such thing as a false paranoia. If you pay attention to what's going on, then you would understand that you should be concerned and paranoid that the government and the corporate partners are involved in all sorts of atrocious, horrible things. I mean, what is the solution, friend? To put your fingers in your ear, to put your head in the sand and ignore the reality of what's outside your front door? I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not going to take that path. You can choose whatever path you want. Me and you are here right now, wherever we're located in this world, friends in Ohio, friends around the world, listening to each other, having a conversation. And we connect for this brief moment. I'm looking in your eyes and I'm paying attention to your comments. We connect for this brief moment. And if your solution is to say, well, you're just saying things that are making me feel uncomfortable, or it sounds nasty, or that's scary, or well, say something nice. Don't you say something nice about the U.S. government? I get what you're saying. It may sound like I'm just a negative person, but reality is not simply rainbows and sunshine and flowers all the time. It is darkness. It is both sides. There is a balance in our world, and so we have to be aware of this this balance that exists. And if we want to shape the world into a better place, we have to find ways to work within what we see. We can't ignore ourselves. So take your head out of the sand, actually pay attention to what's going on in the world. And if you want to take action, I do recommend this. Check out a website called thefreedomcells.org. It is a free platform that allows you to connect on a community level so that you can actually build locally. I'm a regressive, no, I'm an anarchist, I'm sorry. I'm building community locally through the group that I'm part of called the Houston Freethinkers. I'm touring this country as part of the Decentralize Your Life tour, which I will post a link, and we are bringing this message. We are bringing community action. We're actually volunteering in every community that we visit. I'm promoting my ideas of working outside the state and building the world that we want to see. We're hosting meditations, and we're bringing music, and we're doing this 52 cities around the United States. We're leaving July 10th to go forward into the West Coast and the Midwest. So if you want to know more about what I'm doing, you can. But if you want to just pay attention to the stories, that's fine as well. And I'm going to wrap up. I got one more, I think. I might have two more, but I'm going to be quick about this. So what we've talked about so far, just to recap, the CIA is torturing, continues to torture, and some of the officials have actually spoke about it. They actually said the reason they chose to destroy the tapes is because they were worried that it was going to make the CIA look bad. The second story is related to a video, exclusive video that I took back in October that showed that the police there purposely left their vehicles and drove off the bridge the night of fires when police vehicles were set on fire. And this has now been confirmed by a whistleblower that the company Tiger Swan was involved in practices like that. So it shouldn't be a big surprise. So the next story here is called "The TSA Wants to Know What Books You're Reading Before You Are Allowed to Board Planes." So what does that mean? The TSA here in the United States is the Transportation Security Administration. They are responsible for security in the airport. They were created, again, after 9/11 as part of the war on terror. Isn't that so weird how everything we've talked about tonight, as diverse as the topics are, CIA torture, private contractors in Standing Rock, and this topic here about the TSA and the airport, they all come together around the war on terror, 9/11, this empire building. So that's why I attack that so much. But according to new measures that are going to be implemented eventually nationwide, right now they're optional and they're only being tested in some airports. But the Wall Street Journal and Sacramento Bee report that passengers are now being told they're going to have to pull out their books and separate their books when they travel. And, you know, I fly for journalism and for speaking events, and, you know, you have the option of either going through the backscatter radiation technology or getting a rub down, a pat down. I take the pat down because I don't want to put myself in that machine, and I like to make them have to work for it if they're going to have to violate my rights. I want people to have to see, look, this is what they're doing. They're just patting you down like you're a common criminal just because you want to fly. And now they say in order to keep us safe, they're going to have to take out, you know, they're doing this thing where they're taking out people's laptops and big tablets. And right now they're starting with just the foreigners and the Muslims, people coming from Muslim majority countries, right? So middle America and most Americans are saying, well, it's okay because they're coming from countries that might have terrorism. But guess what? In case you didn't realize, eventually they're going to do that to everybody. All of us are going to have to take out our laptops. You know, they're already taking them out, but they're going to ban them eventually. And right now they're saying that they need to take out your books to make sure there's not bombs inside of the books. But how long will it be before they actually start saying, oh, wait, you're reading 1984, Brave New World, Fahrenheit 451? Oh, what is this about? Manifesto of the Free Humans? You're reading about what? Oh, this sounds like some dangerous opinions. We need to pull you aside for extra questioning. How far away is that? Also, in airport news, the Delta, they've started testing a new program, a pilot program, which is eventually also going to go nationwide, that allows individuals to forget having the passport and the ticket. They can just scan their fingerprints as they travel. So this, of course, these are just part of the strategies. They start out it's going to be voluntary, it's convenient, things like that. Eventually, it'll be it'll be mandatory and it'll be nationwide. It'll be biometrics at the airport. It'll be looking through your books and just checking everything. And this is just going to make flying an even more uncomfortable experience, and one that many people probably won't want to deal with. And let me address a couple of these comments while we're moving on. James Larkin. Hi, James Larkin. You seem pretty sad and bored. I don't know why you would just come here and troll, but he's just saying, oh my God, more complaints about America. I like to hear alternative opinions. I don't have to like them. Well, you don't have to be here then, brother. But, you know, the thing is, it's not a negative thing about America. It's news. It's the truth. So instead of saying, hey, Trump is the problem, or the Democrats are the problem, or the Republicans are the problem, I'm saying they're all the problem, and we should stop looking at things from such a partisan view and actually look at the issues. Well, it's becoming less and less, or more and more restrictive to fly at the airport. Well, your tax dollars are going to fund individuals and officials who are supporting torture. Well, your tax dollars are going to fund police departments and private military contractors that are faking being protesters and setting their own vehicles on fire in order to create division among the public and to lose support for causes that we should all legitimately support, like things that endanger the planet. And this one, last story of the night. Thank you guys for listening. Once again, my name is Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network, and activist post. You can follow us at the Conscious Resistance Network on Facebook. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/consciousresistance. And if you want to support me on a monthly basis, you can sign up for my Patreon account. Thank you guys for doing that. So this last one, I just posted a link. It's called 2 New Studies Confirm Common Insecticide Weakens Honeybee Hives. And this is just going, I've been following the story since 2014, and study after study keeps indicating that these neonicotinoid pesticides, insecticides, which contain trace amounts of nicotine, which is why they're called neonicotinoids, they have consistently been linked to declines in bee populations. And they were originally developed in 1991. Commercial use began in the late mid-1990s. Around 2006, commercial beekeepers began reporting what is known as colony collapse disorder. And this is where the massive die-offs have taken place that some of you have heard about. And of course, we all know the importance of honeybees and bees and pollination and keeping us alive. Well, 2 new studies have confirmed this. One of them involves researchers from Hungary, Britain, and Germany planting fields of rapeseed, which is commonly used as cooking oil. Some of the fields were sown with seeds treated with neonics. Others were planted with untreated seeds. And they followed the bees for a year. And they basically found that this caused a decline in the population of the bees. It made them weaker. And another study backed this up and said that, they're also finding neonicotinoid poisoning in bees in areas where they didn't test for it, which seems to indicate that there's residue of this pesticide all over the place, and it's contaminating the bees. So even beyond the scope of what the scientists and the researchers were looking for, they're finding this poisoning. And this confirms what other studies have shown that says that bee populations, their fertility rates were going down because of this pesticide, this insecticide, and on and on and on. So just more evidence that the insecticide industry, which is part of a larger industry and really a part of the unsustainable farming, big farming industrial complex, that are completely unsustainable. I want to read this part to you, and then we're done for today. So we got to remember that these pesticides, they're just one single class of pesticides which have been linked to harm to the environment and animals. But if we're actually going to stop the degradation of the planet and all of its inhabitants, human life, the environment itself, and animals, we have to create and promote localized solutions for food production that do not depend on the factory farming complex and their pesticides. So what does that mean? What do all those words mean? Promote localized solutions for food production. This means growing your own food, backyard gardens, community gardens, supporting farmers markets, getting involved, taking your food, your diet into your own hands, and not relying on these unsustainable food production systems that also use unsustainable, dangerous pesticides and chemicals that are poisoning the planet and poisoning the water and really going to harm future generations. And obviously they're killing the bees, and it's a problem. So think about that. Do something about it. Take care of the animals. Take care of yourself. That's all I got for today. I'm going to just give you a minute or two. If you want to post any questions, I'll respond to that. And while you post questions, let me remind you again, my name is Derrick Broze. I'm an activist, I'm a journalist, and I'm an author. I've written 3 books that are available to download for free at this link right here that I will post to you. I'm going on tour this summer as part of the Decentralize Your Life tour, spreading this message of localized, decentralized solutions, whether it's food, whether it's alternative economy, whether it's education, things like that. And one of the other ideas, thank you for the reminder, that I'm working on, it involves something called MedMob, the Meditation Flash Mob. Has anybody ever heard of this? MedMob. You should check it out if you have not. MedMob Inquire Within is the main page. And basically, it's being restarted. It's going to be restarted by my partner Miriam and people around the country, around the world who want to get involved. But a MedMob is short for a meditation flash mob, which means people organize together to come to public areas and show up at a synchronized time with cities around the world, around the country, and just show up together and sit down and meditate. So just imagine you're in a public place, you're chilling, and all of a sudden this swarm of people comes in, and they just sit down and just go silent. And maybe they put up a little sign that says, we're meditating, sit down if you want to join us. And all around the world, people are doing this. So some of them last 30 minutes, some of them last an hour. But at the end of the meditation, it gets to what they call the sound bath, where everybody does ohming or chanting or drum circles, whatever you want to do, just that 11 minutes synchronized. And then it's a great way to meet new people. And that's something that I was involved in here in Houston in over 300 cities at one point from 2011, 2012, but it sort of died down and it's gone away. Now Miriam is restarting it. I just posted the page right there. If you look up MedMob, Inquire Within, and it's going to come back starting next month, well, I guess this coming month, July, in a few weeks. And if you want to get involved with that and be involved with synchronized global meditations, then please check that out. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate your patience with me today. Let me see if there's any questions or anything like that actually have anything to say. Well, I think that's probably it. Thank you guys so much for the support. Again, follow us on the Conscious Resistance Network. Find me every week here for these reports, and follow us as we hit the road for the Decentralize Your Life Tour. We do live Facebook updates every single day. I'll talk to you soon. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, you are free. Peace.